This clip is taken from the podcast of Maulana Abdul Salam Zaeef, and what he presents is not just an opinion, it is a reading of history itself. Ladies and gentlemen, history tells us one clear story. Nations rise and nations fall. When oppression reaches its extreme, decline begins immediately. And when decline reaches its peak, a new phase of change is born. Today, according to Maulana Zaeef, Muslims are living in what he calls the peak of humiliation. A painful phrase, but a powerful one. He argues that the level of disgrace faced by Muslims today has no parallel from the early days of Islam until now. Yet history shows us something remarkable. The darkest point of night often comes just before dawn. He reminds us that every century brings a major transformation. Look at the 20th century. World War II reshaped the world map, altered power structures, and created a new global order. Institutions were born, borders were redrawn, and a new system of control emerged. Now, nearly 100 years later, that same system is showing cracks. And here comes the most critical point of his message. If the coming global change enters the world through an Islamic door, it will not be negative, it will be positive. But that change will not come automatically. Muslims, he says, will be forced by circumstances to move toward unity. Not unity of slogans, but unity of purpose. Not emotional unity, but strategic unity. This is not a speech of despair. It is a warning wrapped in hope. The message is simple yet heavy. The current global order is not permanent, and the humiliation of Muslims is not permanent either. The real question is, will Muslims remain spectators of history? Or will they become the makers of history? Because when oppression reaches its limit, and when humiliation reaches its peak, that moment does not mark the end. It marks the beginning.